Hello Aries, welcome to your weekly reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. This is for the week of April 23rd through 29th. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. Now this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I'm providing. Okay. Remember that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And here we have a 7 of Wands. Now this is showing a lot about not what you're up against, but kind of how you're up against it. Right? Well, let's put this into some context, because that's some good fire energy. That is a lot of fire energy that can really overcome a lot of obstacles, okay? And as I lay out the Dove and Serpent spread, I do just want to say that if there's anything you need me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please leave me a comment down below this video, okay? So we're going to finish our Dove and Serpent spread here. And we're going to do our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. We're going to put this off to the side. We're not going to look at this one until the very end of the reading, okay? And hopefully that will tie everything together and give us the confirmation that we're looking for at the end. All right. So, taking a quick look around on the path of the Dove here, we have some fire, we have some majors and some earth. On the path of the Serpent, we have some air, some water, some earth, some court cards. So it's a fairly decent mix of cards, okay? I don't see that there's anything really out of balance. There is a lot of fire energy kind of concentrated right here, okay? So this is where we usually start, and I think for good reason. We've got the 7 of Wands here. So you are somebody who, you don't shy away from a challenge, you know? I mean, you are Aries after all. I think that you don't go looking for a fight, but you pretty much never back down from any kind of challenge, okay? And I think even when it's pretty apparent that the odds are against you, you'll still give it everything you've got, okay? And I think that this applies not only to your creative projects, your career, your employment. I don't know if you're still working, if you're kind of post-career, or if you're in between careers or jobs right now. But I feel like you've been the person that has always elected to do the difficult thing, right? Does that make sense? You've never really taken the easy way out of things. You've always picked the path of the most resistance, because that's where you're really going to learn and grow and evolve. You know, you take the easy road and there's not much challenge. There's not much stimulus, right? So I think that you are going to be, you're going to be called upon to really harness this energy this week, okay? I think there's going to be a situation where you're going to have to probably do the difficult thing. You're going to be drawn to the difficult thing rather than the easy way out. Okay? And what I see it involving, there's a lot of we have the Queen and the Princess of Wands right here as a central focus to this week's energy. And I really feel like these are representing some more fire sign people in your life. First of all is this Queen of Wands. Now, this could be a maternal figure. It could be an older sibling. It could be an aunt, a grandmother figure. It could be an older friend. I'm getting this kind of almost this kind of dominating energy. It's well, it's rather like this card. It's somebody that just seems like they're higher up than you, and they're looking down, and they're observing. Maybe they're judging, right? It feels like kind of an overbearing and overprotective, an over-involved, maybe, maternal figure. I'm trying to think if last week we also had something with a maternal figure. Not sure if that was for Aries. But I feel it in this week, and I think that this person, whether this is a family member or an older friend, I don't know if there's really a blood relation, but I'm getting this kind of overbearing mother type of energy. Okay. Their name may begin with an A, with the letter A. I'm getting an A sound. But I feel like they are just almost like watching your every move, I feel like they are not so much interfering or getting involved in your life, right? We don't have too much of that air energy here. We see a little bit of air at the end of the path of the serpent, but not a lot of air energy here. It almost feels like they're just kind of watching to see what you do, to see which path you choose almost. And I don't know if this is someone that is still on the physical plane or if it's someone who has already ascended to a higher plane. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like they're still observing, and I feel like you're very used to them watching and just and it feels like they're judging. I know they're doing it from a place of love and care and concern, but it's still a little bit abrasive, I think. It's just maybe they're just very old school, and they act from a place of love, but it may come across as being judgmental or being abrasive or being kind of controlling or dominating, right? But there is this kind of a choice that you have to make this week, right? Now, I don't know that the choice necessarily involves this person, but I feel like they are, let's just say, very curious what you're going to do. Okay? Well, let's look at the recent past now, because I see this Fool energy just back here, just very kind of carefree, free-spirited. In the past, this Fool energy, I think, is telling me that I think it's in relation to this Queen of Wands person. This Queen of Wands may have this perception of you that you are irresponsible, that you are not prone to choosing correctly according to their standards, right? According to what they think you should do. You seem a little reckless, a little careless, okay? And I think that goes to this choosing the more difficult path. You choose the path that has perhaps more meaning, more heart, but it's a more difficult path, right? It's a more circuitous route to success rather than the straight and narrow path, right? And I think that is confusing to other people, especially this maternal type figure, who maybe is feeling like your choices are irresponsible, haphazard, not well thought out, And I think that's kind of what's going on now. I think they're used to this kind of what may appear as this foolish kind of energy. But with you, there's a lot of wisdom in it. Everything you do is very intentional. That you are, not that you're choosing to struggle, but you would rather take the path with challenge, with struggle, with an opportunity for growth and challenge and evolution, than just take the easy way, right? And the easy way may be the most logical thing. So to outside people, they think, why are you choosing this crazy, direction here when you can have everything very simple, very, already prepared for you, But you're someone who wants to cut their own path through the wilderness rather than just stick to the ready-made trails, So again, I think it seems a little foolish on the outside, but you know that there's a lot of wisdom to what you do, and there's a reason why you're choosing the things that you're choosing. There's a reason why you're on the paths that you are, even though it may not meet with the approval of this maternal figure or family in general. What we see up above everything is more of this fiery energy. Now, this is a Princess of Wands, and this card is interesting because it has this tiger, this wild cat, and that's sometimes representing the overcoming of fear, right? It represents the kind of the venturing into the unknown with this exhilarating kind of bravery. And that's contrasted with the wild cat that is here, biting the fool's leg. And that is, I think in both cases, talking about the refusal to allow fear to hinder our progress. In the one hand, with the princess, this figure is overcoming fear, being brave against fear. On this hand, with the fool's kind of oblivious to the fear. It doesn't even register, right? But in either case, there's a refusal or an ignorance even of the need to refuse, being hindered in our progress by fear. And I think that is a large part of your energy, especially this week. I think in everything that you do, it's almost someone who is trying to overcome their limitations in life, right? Trying to overcome their fears. It's immersion therapy. If you're afraid of heights, well, find the tallest building, take the elevator all the way up, and look out the window, right? If you're afraid of falling or you're really afraid of heights, go skydiving. Okay, I would never do that. That's not for me. Or, afraid of water, well, you just slowly acclimate yourself to a watery environment, right? I almost feel like there's some of that going on with you. And from the outside, it may look impractical. It may look like you are, kind of watering a dead plant, or you are doing these things with no real, obvious, tangible results. It's almost as if there's no purpose to what you're doing. That's from the outside. Again, the Fool is also wisdom, right? So the intention that you have behind your actions may not be visible to everyone around you, but that doesn't make them any less valid in any way. Okay? And there is really no need for you to explain yourself to others. If this is all they see, this slow progress, this lack of tangible results, lack of production, that doesn't take away from the value that you are producing for yourself in your own life. Okay? And I don't quite know exactly what decision or what you're trying to overcome or why you are on the path that you're on or what that path looks like, but I do have this sense that it has intense meaning for you. And the meaning is not just to build a successful business or career and get money and, have all those kind of traditional successes in your life. Yeah, you want that too. But there's a deeper meaning. There's a more subtle meaning to your purpose, your intent. So I think that you are on this path, this cycle in your own work. This phase of your own work is very meaningful to you, and you have very specific kind of goals in mind, right? That may not be visible from the outside. And there's no real need for you to express and convince, right, other people of the validity of your choices. Right? That's not your responsibility to get other people on board, to get them to agree with what you're doing, right? Because you have this certainty. This is the Wheel of Fortune. This is that Jupiter energy. This is the faith, the hope, the trust that you have inside, deep within you, that's telling you you're on the right path, that you know you're on this wheel and you're doing the work that is necessary for you, for your evolution, for your transformation, for your becoming, for your karma, for your future. Okay? Beyond the physical, I've got to earn some money. So it's a very interesting dynamic that you have with your loved ones, with this maternal figure. I'm still getting some maternal energy there, almost like an older sibling, maybe. Maybe somebody that had chosen a different path from you. They went the traditional route. And I want to point out, too, that this card has the wildcat in it as well. And this is someone who maybe they have not tamed fear, right? If fear is the wildcat, they may be just living with their fear. They may not be interacting with it. They may have tamed it to the point where they avoid fear, right? They don't do anything that will challenge them in that way. They've stuck to the straight and narrow. They stuck to the traditional path, right? Whereas in these other two cards, the wildcat is free to kind of dance and bite and play and, chase you around. But not with the Queen of Wands in this case. Now, on the path of the Serpent, we start out with some earth energy. So you really are kind of on this cycle where you are transitioning into a period of manifesting success and progress. So it's not like you're doing these things for purely theoretical or abstract reasons, these more subtle reasons. You are creating something in your life, physical, tangible. Now, the point is with the juxtaposition here, the conflict between these two, the opposition that we have here, right? This is manifestation. This is the inability to manifest, right? This Seven of Discs is a reminder that meaning and value and heart and success and achievement aren't dependent upon something being physical, visible, tangible. Just because it's not something that other people can taste, touch, smell, feel, or spend, doesn't mean that it's not valuable, doesn't mean that it's not meaningful. Sometimes the most meaningful work is the work that does not have a physical result at the end. Something that people can look at, right? Something that can be experienced with the senses. Maybe that is not the most valuable result of our work, the visible product at the end. Okay? And that's what the Seven of Discs is reminding us. And that's, I think, what other people are having a problem with, particularly this Queen of Wands. They are expecting something tangible at the end of all of your toil. And since they aren't seeing that, they're questioning your choices, right? But you also have this ability to manifest. So I think that there is a potential shift here from this path of the dove work that you're doing to the path of the serpent, where maybe as this wheel turns, you're going to focus more on the practical, tangible, visible manifestation as the result of your work. Okay? Now, is it because this person is kind of judging you and maybe even in a passive-aggressive way trying to manipulate you into making different choices? Does this card represent you kind of acquiescing, succumbing to their subtle energy and getting on this more traditional path of physical, tangible production of results, right? Are you shifting gears to this kind of production because of their influence, that Queen of Wands influence? It might be so. It might be so. And they have a heavy influence on your life. It's that maternal type figure. Maybe an older sibling. Maybe a grandma, an auntie, great-grandma. Maybe mom. There is a lot of this water energy in your environment. I think it is, like I said, they're doing it from a place of love, right? But I feel like it's too much. I feel like it is kind of a micromanagement. I feel like maybe this goes all the way back to your childhood or young adulthood, but I just feel like there's this smothering kind of energy where there's too much involvement in your life, too much concern, too much analysis of the choice that you're making, right? Just a little overbearing, a little bit too much involvement, right? A person that is, every decision that you make, they're kind of right there looking over your shoulder, right? Too involved, you know? And I feel like it's still sort of that way now, where yes, it's done from love, and maybe there is this reluctance to say anything, you know, and so it's just kind of, we're almost just trying to put up with it, trying to deal with this kind of hyper involvement in our life. You know, it's not really the micromanaging, it's just the over analysis. It's just being right over your shoulder all the time, being just very involved in every decision you make. And almost, I'm getting that passive aggressive feeling, almost like, oh, are you sure that's what you want to do? You know, and I feel like it's that way all the time. Okay, and that's too much. 10 of Cups, too much of something, right? Too much involvement, I feel like. The next card that we see is the Queen of Cups. Now, we go from the Queen of Wands to the Queen of Cups. This is in the position of your fears and worries and concerns. So why are we concerned about the Queen of Cups? Well, maybe our problem is that this person, whoever this person is capable of going from hot to cold, going from kind of abrasive, but very involved, very just kind of all in the mix all the time, right? But at least they're present and involved and interested and you know. Or they can be completely cut off and cold and distant and totally freeze you out. So there's two sides to this person, and maybe this Queen of Cups is what you're worried about. Maybe this is why you're putting up with all of this kind of hyper involvement, because you know that if you were to resist just a little bit, they would flip completely into the water mode and completely just ghost you, just zero contact. So it's almost like this person has one extreme or the other, and you are left right in the middle trying to decide which extreme do I really want if I have to choose one or the other. You know, there's really no happy medium here. So it's either you have too much of this fire or you have too much of this cold, cold water. But there's too much, right? The 10 of Cups is the extreme of that energy. Now, the final card that we see on the path of the Serpent is some air energy. Finally, the 4 of Swords. I think this may be the beginning of a discussion about these things, right? This really may be you trying to figure out how to begin that discussion. I don't think this is the discussion, but I feel like you want to finally just talk about this and see if we can find a win-win solution. but you're still trying to figure out how to make that plan, right? This is the Four of Swords. So the air energy, like we saw with the Fool, the air energy is kind of all over the place. It's just wind and air. It's just expanding and blowing around and all of this stuff. We're trying to give it structure. We're trying to put it in a nice, stable 4 configuration. And we're trying to figure out how to do that, but we know that's not going to last, right? So this is coming to a compromise, coming to an agreement, but we know it's not going to last because it's air, and you can't tell air to just be a rigid structure, you know? So we can force it into this agreement, this compromise, this temporary truce, but it's not going to last. Okay? So that's where we are at now, trying to figure out how and when we should form that truce. Is there something that's pending for you, something that you are about to make a decision on, something that you're about to begin, and now would be a good time to have that temporary truce so that you can focus on what you need to focus on. Give yourself a little window, right, of opportunity. Yeah, I don't know. I think we should look at this mystery card. I think we should try to figure out if this is the right time for you to have this discussion, create a little bit of space so that you can take advantage of the opportunity to do what you need to do. What have you been preparing to do? You know, what is this, maybe this 7 of Wands? Is there something that you're about to embark upon and you need the kind of temporary gap in this intense energy coming from this Queen of Wands? So I'm thinking that this is either going to be maybe the Devil card, maybe, well, we already have the Fool, maybe the Devil, maybe Death, maybe the Chariot. I think the Chariot would be nice. It would show that there is something that you're just about ready to embark upon. And it's almost like you need to invoke this Four of Swords at the right moment so that you can make your journey, right? So you can begin this work. It's almost like you have to part the water, you have to part the seas here so that you can get through. And you know that's a temporary thing, but it will at least buy you enough time to make your move. And the Chariot card. So I really feel like you're about to either make a literal move somewhere, or you're about to make a really major change, a move, a shift in your life, a major decision. And you don't want this maternal type energy figure to get involved right now, right? You need some space from that so that you can take advantage of this opportunity without them, talking in your ear, or trying to convince you otherwise, or getting in your way, or questioning you, or just looking over your shoulder the whole time, right? You need a little bit of space. So maybe this is the right time for you to invoke that Four of Swords, to part the waters, and then you can set out on your voyage. Okay? I hope you'll leave me some comments and let me know what you think, if this is resonating with you, what you think about some of this energy. We are going to embark upon the extended reading. So if you want to stick around for that, you can click on the link that's right up here. And then you can have access to all of the extended readings. Okay. This was your weekly reading, Aries, for April 23rd through 29th, here on Dove and Serpent Tarot.